Most of this is going to out you as a Calvinist.
I don't think I go that far.
No.
I've been caught on other
Well, I think you'd be surprised how far you
Okay.
go.
Welcome to MVP, the Messiah Victory Podcast, the #1 Wells Lutheran podcast in Wichita, Kansas. Hosted by pastors John Rockhoff and Jake Jenswold, MVP is your go-to destination for lively conversation on hot topics with a biblical perspective. In this episode, the pastors share some church updates and discuss, are we actually supposed to be following the 10 Commandments today? Also, who should have a halo in your nativity scenes? That and more coming up next. Guys, come on.
Oh, crap. Okay, so it does. The next part gets really interesting.
Action.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to throw it down.
We're doing our research. That's why we're kind of caught off guard here. But episode 5, it's 5 in. So, and still going. So, welcome to another MVP podcast. We have our notes that we, to keep us on track here. Upcoming events. Let's get right into it. Church-wise, church is going, 9 o'clock service here at Messiah on the west side, 9:30. If you like to sleep in, you can get to the east side, at Victory. So we have a special Thanksgiving Eve service. We don't do Thanksgiving Day, but here at Messiah on the west side, 7 o'clock. What's the date for Thanksgiving? The 27th, is that?
27th, I believe.
So the 26th would be a special service there. Preaching topics. We had our Reformation services, which is always a high point for a Lutheran church. And
But
but
it's not Christmas, it's not Easter.
it's not Christmas, it's not Easter. It's so there's
High Point makes it seem like we're really into Luther or something.
Yeah, I shouldn't say the high point.
Right.
A high point.
It's a fun
service.
service to remember.
We don't have a Luther tree or anything like that. So, but we sing some good Reformation hymns, and they have All Saints that I preached on a stewardship emphasis this last Sunday. You kind of did the All Saints, and a few more Sundays after Pentecost coming up. I think we're preaching on different texts for this week too. So I talked about some of this over our lunch hour. So we usually kind of are on the same one, but I'm doing kind of a saints thing on the resurrection with the Sadducees, and they're questioning the resurrection and marriage and all that. And you're doing
Zacchaeus.
You're doing Zacchaeus, yeah. So that's what we're doing as far as we're preaching. Bible classes, kind of a busy time. I know on my side we've got 3 different Bible information classes going. A couple one online, one's a makeup one, and just kind of wrapping up the one that we do with our families from our child care center, and a couple of families that are unchurched that have shown some interest. That's always an exciting thing for us. And we do a study of the book of Job on Tuesday nights. And Sundays we are doing, looking at covenants, God's covenants, the Abrahamic and Sinaitic, really fancy names for one covenant that was between God and his people, and the other one completely a covenant of grace that God made because of that Savior. So that's some of the things going on here. Just keeping busy. It's a busy time when you jump back into the fall season with classes and stuff like that. So Victory. Events at Victory.
Well, so I'm looking at our wonderful notes here, and it says that this could potentially be out the 11th of November, which means that we will be right in between our food drive, our Thanksgiving food drive that we do. So on November the 8th, which is Saturday, we'll be handing out 750 bags that have our logo on it for people to fill. And then the 15th, we'll be coming back to those houses to pick up all of those bags and drop them off at the Kansas Food Bank. We've done that in the past and have collected each time one time it was almost 1,000 pounds of food, and the other time it was over 1,000 pounds of food. So the Kansas Food Bank loves us for doing this, and we love helping out our community and talking to people as we go. So that's our big one that we're right, when this comes out, we should be right in between, which also actually sort of kills our what are we preaching on, because I don't know what I'm preaching on for the
for the next one.
for the next 16th.
We go one at a time. We know before we know it at the end of the month, and then into December Advent services, and we'll talk about one of those things later that we're going to do on one of our midweek services. But that's I think so much of what you want as a church, and maybe for our people to understand this, is to get your name out there. And when you got your logo and everything, and people see it, because some of it is just, they say, oh yeah, you're that church. And I remember when I came here 38 some years ago, people didn't know Messiah at all. And we were a church sitting here right on Ridge Road, a major road, and they drove right by it. They didn't even know we existed. So much of what we do, when people say, well, how many people have joined because of a food drive or joined because you were out at the county fair, and think, well, it's just getting your name out there and letting people know, hey, this is what we're doing and what we offer. And so I think that always helps some. So,
yeah, just to tack on to that, I recently used the new AI tools that exist, and I said, what's the best way to get people to come to your church? Do you want to know what the number one answer, according to AI, is?
Oh, wow. Let me think. Number one way to get people to come to church by AI. Some kind of community involvement, or
relationships,
well,
friends, relatives, and neighbors.
It's
been the thing we've been saying for years.
Well, I was going to say AI is right sometimes.
And
sometimes.
that is
Don't
interesting.
Don't get me started. Actually, I can be a guest on later, another day.
On AI.
We'll bring you in.
Our AI expert.
There's a book. Oh, we'll talk later. Anyway.
But it's we've been preaching that for years. That statistics show. You talk about. Some people might say, well, it's because we do these programs, or it's because of the pastor, and we'd like to think as pastors we have some influence, but the percentages are like 80 and above. It's through relationships.
It's just no one wants to listen to you if they don't know you.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're weirded out if someone knocks on your door and is like, hey, please come to my church. Right? Like, that's a weird thing to do. But if your friend says, hey, I know you're going through a hard time right now, I really get a lot of comfort from the Word of God. You should come with me to church sometime. They'll probably listen to you, because you care about them and you have a pre-existing relationship.
I've gone so far as telling members that not only invite them and say, hey, I'll meet you and sit with you, but say, can I pick you up? Because then there's more of a commitment there, because we are just used to, hey, well, why don't they come in and just sit and enjoy the worship service? Well, if you're not a church goer, this is so foreign. Mm-hmm. And are they going to make me do something, or will I know what to do at certain times? And so to have that where God does give us these blessings, or some people do walk in cold. But for the most part, the ones that are going to be ones that will take interest is if they know you and can say, oh, so-and-so invited me. We have one instance of that going on right now that talked about it at work and said, hey, why don't you come? And now has been coming. So, yeah, that's the way we do it.
That's how it works.
Get those relationships, and so we emphasize that with our members.
Yep.
It's not on here. It must have been an oversight on your part. Fantasy football update. I was victorious. I'm 11th place out of 20 at 4 and 5. It's kind of on the. How'd you do this week? And with your squad?
I'm 20th place out of 20.
You're in 20th again. I think you finished 20th.
I think I'm comfortably there.
Okay.
Comfortably.
So,
20th place.
And you have one win.
Yeah.
Okay. One win and 8 losses. So, we every time we do this, I hope to have good news. But
that my team isn't good? That's the problem.
Yeah. So that's kind of both our teams in real football lost. That was kind of devastating. But then I get a little comfort if my fantasy team won. But I guess you kind of think it's always a double loss, and when
it's just a hard weekend.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You forgot that, Leo. Just put fantasy
also,
football updates. So.
Coming out the 11th, I mean, I could be 2. I could have 2 wins by that.
Well, or 9 losses. Could go. Could go either way. So.
Yeah.
Well, if you got the number 1 draft pick next year, we wouldn't do it that way. So.
I don't want the number 1 draft pick.
So yeah, we might be kicking you out of the league because no, you're trying. You're just not the
Don't make these promises.
Let's go questions. We got some questions. Are we in the questions mode, Leanne?
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah. And this one came up in Bible class. It was kind of like a joke that we were talking about getting your Christmas cards out, and I said, make sure when you get the stamps, you right away want to go with the religious stamps. People say, oh, give me the religious ones. And I said, be careful. You might get the ones that have a halo around Mary. And so that was like right towards the end of class. And so there's a question about the halo would, if you, it's the question is, what if Joseph also has a halo? Because aren't we saints? And you could have halos around both of us. And I said, it is. If you see a picture of the Holy Family, Joseph, I don't know if I've ever seen a halo on Joseph.
I think I have.
You have?
Yes, I think so.
Really?
I think so too.
Wow, I got to start looking at my images. So.
Look at again, I'm coming in cold on this. Eastern Orthodox, I believe.
And they would have
put
it?
a halo around. Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of the stamps that if just have Mary and Jesus, and then you have Mary with indicating halo. And if we would be thinking that this is like she is a saint because we're all saints, the communion of saints because of Christ, what we confess in the creed, okay, fine. But I think it's not really.
I also probably wouldn't just have Mary with a halo. Right?
Yeah,
like
and
if that's your stamp, then you're like,
Yeah, and that's just. But if it's a picture just of Mary and Jesus, and then you have Mary with the halo, I think it gives another connotation that there was this role that Mary played.
It's a stamp that takes too much explaining.
Yeah. So get the ones with the snowman. That's what we come down to. Get the snowman. And
with a halo.
And if your snowman has a halo, we got a whole another issue. But yeah. But yeah, they do. We are saints. We talk about that, saints and sinners at the same time. So because of Christ, yeah, we're saints. We're doing this in our Sunday morning Bible class. We were talking about the Ten Commandments, and I took a couple members a little bit by surprise, maybe one in particular, when I mentioned that the Ten Commandments in the form that they are right now are not binding to us. And then we were talking about three specific commandments. The first one, and we talked about the numbering being off. Mm-hmm. Because whenever you hear someone refer to a commandment, if you say, that's not how I learned it, because the Reformed churches number the first commandment 1 and 2, because they have, you shall have no other gods, and you shall not make any graven images or any idols. So they split it. So their commandments are one off. And then you get to the 9th and 10th, which we have split up on coveting. And we didn't get to that in Bible class, why they had to on the 9th and 10th, because of more of the inheritance aspect when you're at neighbor's house. But they combine that, so we still get 10. When some say, well, there are actually 11 commandments or 11 words, it says. And so the one came up about, okay, you look at the first commandment, and the whole emphasis on you can't have any images because that was what the heathen nations around them did. We're not bound by the fact, no, we don't worship them, but we can still have statues and crucifixes and things like that. So there's that, whether that part is as binding. Fourth commandment, that you may live long, have a long life in the land, actually is talking about living long life in the promised land, where we talk about now that promise is different for us, that you're going to be blessed all your life here on this earth if you honor those in authority. And then we do get the 9th and 10th commandment, and we look at the form there when it talks about the whole idea of coveting and why those two are combined. So the fact that when we think that, wait a minute, we're bound by that, I missed the third commandment, remember the Sabbath day. Well, that's a Saturday. And Seventh-day Adventists continue to worship on the seventh day, Saturday. When I was growing up, one block from our church was a church that was used by the Seventh-day Adventists and another congregation, because Seventh-day Adventists used it on Saturday.
Only need Saturday.
And the other congregation that owned the building used it on Sunday. And I always thought that was interesting that two churches were using the same one, and I came to find out why. So, 10 Commandments in their form, written into our hearts and our conscience, given to the people at that time. But then in the New Testament, Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, strength and mind, and love your neighbors yourself. So kind of restates them a little bit. But if you get hung up on why don't we worship on Saturday, because that was the form that was given to the people of Israel at the time. And if you want to I don't know if you want to go off of that too, we talked about civil and ceremonial laws too, that were only for the people of that day. But the question was, the 10 Commandments in the form that they are, they're not binding, but the moral law as such that we have from God is.
Yeah, a lot of things.
That's what we can eat shellfish and pork and.
Yeah, and you see people arguing that when they're trying to maybe talk about the question of sexuality and things, and say, well, the Bible says that, but it also says you can't eat shellfish. So they're taking some of the civil and ceremonial laws from the Old Testament that are no longer binding. And even this thing with like worshiping on Saturdays, we don't have to, because they said, well, that's one of the commandments and that's what we have to do. And I said, well, understand that form, but you were going to comment on that.
Yeah, so, boy, even more thoughts now that you bring in the civil versus
I'll just be silent.
ceremonial law. It's really, let's start with the moral and the ceremonial law, and the difference between the two of those. If you look in Exodus 20 there, where God gives the law and he gives those 10 commandments, Moses comes down the mountain with those tablets of stone, the second time, right? Because the first time they get shattered. God says, these are the things that you do, and I will be your God and you will be my people. And all the people go, yes, we will be your people, right? So you got the 10 commandments sort of cordoned off from all these other commands that are going to come later, because here's the covenant that was just made, right? Like, here's what it means to be my people. Here's moral law. Okay, now you are my people. You're saying, yeah, I believe in these commands here. Okay, here's what my people do, right? If you are my chosen people wandering in this wilderness, here is what your civil structure looks like. Here is what your ceremonial and worship life looks like. Here's what my people do in cleanliness versus uncleanliness things, right? So it's not that all of those laws are equal to these 10 laws that God just gave to them. Mm-hmm. It's you, if you are my people, if this is the moral law as you believe I've given it. Okay, now in your wandering, if you believe in my promises, here's how you live. Jesus came, we don't need all the pictures anymore, right? We're not the chosen people of Israel. We are believers in the Savior who's now come. So those ceremonial and civil things are nothing, right? They don't apply to us anymore. But that moral law still does, right? Like, the moral law still stands true. And so for them, I'll go to commandment 3 then, because you brought it up. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. God said that you should set aside, and I like to actually specifically say a day, right? Not just time, but like set aside a day that is for rest, and the ultimate rest then is going to be found in your Lord, right? So it's a day that needs to be for the Lord. Then Paul says, and again, coming in cold, don't remember which book it is. He says, let no man judge you by when you worship or when you observe a new moon Sabbath or a new moon or a Sabbath, right? Yeah, Colossians. So it is for freedom that Christ has set you free. So let no one judge you by when you set the time. The important thing is that you set the time to be with your Lord. So for yourself, I think it's you set that day. Is it Sunday when you come to worship? I think so. I think we should put this together with, let us not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing. So let's get together. But then as a church, maybe make that decision, right? Do we get together on Sundays? Great. Do we get together on Saturdays? Great. Do we get together on Monday, Tuesday nights? Doesn't matter. Let's pick a day, and this is our day to the Lord, right?
And the early church swapped it to Sunday.
Yeah, because with the purpose of, let's differentiate ourselves from the ones who are holding on to this old covenant and are weighed down by that, and remember that this is the day the Lord rose from the dead.
Yeah, and so it was not that down the road here we decided to flip off of Saturdays and break the third commandment. No, it's
the point was to say we're different from those who are holding on to the old covenant. We're now living in the new covenant. What else was there? I feel like there was the numbering thing, right? So basically there's potentially, I say potentially because it's a repeat on both ends, right? In the beginning, if I'm not wrong, it's walk before me, and I am the Lord your God, walk before me and be blameless. You shall have no other gods, right? So either way, God has said, I'm the only God that there is. You shouldn't have any other. So you can either go, that's 1 and 2, or you can go to the tail end where he says, don't covet your neighbor's stuff, don't covet his wife and workers and animals. And you can put those together. All we know is that somehow there are 10 commandments there, right? It says Moses came down the mountain with the 10 commandments on the tablets of stone. So we know there are 10. You pick which ones you want to put together. Either the God ones, I'm the Lord your God, and there's only one of me, or the covenanting ones. So there. That's my answer.
I don't have to do the rest of my class on Sundays because we kind of covered it all.
Sorry.
We've got one more before we can do it, so that'll work. So, MessiahLutheranWichita.com is our website, and VictoryICT.com for Wichita are the two websites. I still do a Saturday night sermon at home which is the Sunday sermon that I put out there. We have shut-in members or maybe people that can't make it on a particular Sunday that can pull that up. It's always on what I'm preaching on, a run-through of my sermon. So, usually a 20-minute thing. So that's one thing people could look for. Yeah. Are we good?
What was your
The end.
catchphrase for signing off?
We hear the kids coming for chapel or something, don't we have? Let's hear the
I
pitter patter,
forgot. I
little
didn't
feet. I don't
remember.
know. We still don't have one.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, and
Smash the subscribe.
smash the subscribe button, and what else do we do? Like all that stuff,
Press
So
the like.
press the like, thumbs up, press the like, and comment and send your questions in if you have questions for us, because we kind of take those. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Messiah Victory podcast. Check out the show notes or video description to find our websites, socials, and the anonymous survey link where you can ask questions, request a topic for discussion, or just leave a comment.